Hello YouTube, it's the MTG Master here, going over Nekusar, the mindrazer, for EDH, for 1 red, 1 black, 1 blue, and 2 colorless. You get a 2/4 zombie wizard with, at the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. Whenever an opponent draws a card, he does 1 damage to them. So you're going to be making your opponents draw a lot of cards and lose a lot of life, and they're not going to be too happy with you when they draw like 14 cards a turn and lose 40 life, or they can do that. So for basic lands, we have 4 basic swamps, 7 basic mountains, and 5 basic islands. For unbasic lands, we have Shimmering Grotto, Terramorphic Expanse, Evolving Wilds, Ghost Quarter to blow up certain lands like Gaia's Cradle or Maze of Ith, because there's a few cards that just need to attack each turn. Swiftwater Cliffs, Exotic Orchard, Crumbling Necropolis, Sulfur Vents for either black or you can sack it for a blue and a red. Opal Palace, because Nekusar will be killed a lot, and the ability to pay 1 and add 1 mana for him and put that many 1/1 counters for the number of times he's been cast. That's real good. Salt Marsh, Ebon's Stronghold, Underground River, Bloodfell Caves, Rakdos Guildgate. This is the Dimir Guildgate. Unknown Shores, Command Tower, Reliquary Tower. That way your hand's going to be getting full fast, and this way you don't have to discard, or when you do have to discard due to some of your draw effects, you have the biggest hand size. Izzet Guildgate, Dismal Blackwaters, Transguild Promenade or Promenade, Shadow Bloodridge, Dimir Aqueduct. You could throw in the other 2 bounce lands that tap for 2, but I don't have them. So on to the cards. Extract from Darkness, Dictate of the Twin Gods. That will double the amount of damage dealt by Nekusar and any other card that deals damage. Downside to it though, your opponents are going to take advantage of this because it doubles all damage dealt by permanents or players, or dealt to a permanent or player, it deals double. Gutter Snipe, you have a lot of instants and sorceries. He helps deal damage. Consuming Aberration, most of your opponent's graveyards are going to be pretty big, and then he gets them bigger because each opponent has to reveal a card from the top until they hit a land for each time you cast a spell. Archomancer, to get back that instant or sorcery you need. Dark Ritual for mana. Profane Memento, if you're running Mill, you have to run this card, because it's whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from anywhere that an opponent's graveyard, you gain 1 life. So Mill, really good. Murder, Words of Wisdom, Kazul, he helps you get blockers. There's not a ton of creatures. Molten Psyche, to draw a card, to make everybody shuffle their hand and draw new. Devastation Tide, Disdainful Stroke, Dual Caster Mage, to copy one of your instants or sorceries that makes you draw, discard and draw. Reverberate, same thing as Dualcaster Mage, just not a creature. Whisper Silk Cloak to make it harder for people to kill Nekusar, giving him Shroud. Fate Unraveler, to whenever they draw a card, this deals 1 damage to them. So it's like Nekusar's second ability. This Rakdos Signet. Niv Mizzet Firemind, whenever you draw a card, it deals 1 damage to target creature or player. Nice that he can target creatures too. Behold the Beyond, just to get the cards you really need out of your deck at the time. Mana Silix, just if you're not getting the right color mana, helps you mana fix. Fevered Visions, deals 2 damage to target player at their end step if they have 4 or more cards. And at the beginning of each player's end step, that player draws an additional card. Crumbling Sanctuary, the reason why this is in here, because when your opponent draws a card, they're going to lose a life, then they have to mill. So, gets rid of their library faster. Magrim, whenever an opponent discards, deal 2 damage to that player. It's like Liliana's Caress, but 3 mana instead of 2. I don't have Liliana's Caress. Angaric's Wake, to take care of planeswalkers and creatures you don't control. Temple Bell, make everybody draw a card. Waste Not, one of the best cards in the deck, because your opponents are going to be discarding a lot, and Waste Not gives you creatures, mana, and you get to draw an additional card. But if a creature's discarded, put a 2/2 black zombie. If land is discarded, make 2 black mana. And whenever an opponent discards a non-creature, non-land card, draw a card. So that's pretty fun. Izzet Signet, Diabolic Tutor to get what you need. From Under the Floorboard, if you have a lot of open mana and you have to discard, this is a good card to discard, because then you can give yourself a bunch of blockers. This is Master of the Feast, or Master of the Feasts. It has flying, and at the beginning of your turn, each opponent draws an additional card. Or at the beginning of your draw step, each opponent draws a card. Riddle of Lightning, just to deal more damage to people. Brain in a Jar, if you get this out early, you can basically start casting instants and sorceries for free, or for 1 mana. Vampire Nighthawk, just in there for flying. Rooftop Storm, big part of the deck, because Nekusar is going to die. It makes him cost 5 less, plus you do have to pay the tax for every time he dies. Tomorrow, Azami's Familiar, to stack your deck, or stack your hand the way you want it. Command Sphere, Psychosis Crawler, to make opponents lose life. Real fun card. Spell Twine, if you can't reshuffle your deck, and then you can make everybody draw and discard. Hive Mind, so if you cast a card, each opponent may copy an instant. Well, if you cast an instant or sorcery, they can copy it, which is nice, because if they make the mistake of copying like Windfall or something, it's gonna hurt them. Rakdos Charm, either exile someone's graveyard, or just not really destroy an artifact, but each creature deals 1 damage, is what it's mostly in there. Otherworld Atlas, put counters to draw. Nimbic Skilled Mage, you can pay 4 to copy an instant or sorcery spell. Soul Ring, self-explanatory. Eye of the Storm, whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery, remove it from the game, which is exile. Then that player copies each instant or sorcery card removed from the game with Eye of the Storm. For each copy, that player may play the copy without paying its mana cost. So, real fun. I ran out of time, so we're gonna